Hello, Nicole Mashburn, and today we're going to talk about the skeletal cartilages. So what are the skeletal cartilages? Well, when we talk about bone, we have to talk about the cartilages associated with it. And we introduced cartilages a little bit in the tissue unit. We talked about how cartilages are a type of connective tissue. And we have three different kinds. We have hyaline, elastic, and fibrocartilage. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about those today and where you would expect to find them. Because even though when we talk about the skeleton, we think about bone, we also have to think about the cartilages that are associated with the bone. So when we think about cartilage, the first thing to know is it doesn't have blood vessels. It's avascular. Okay. It also doesn't have nerves. That's one of the reasons that if you hurt a cartilage versus a bone, it's harder for the cartilage to heal than it is the bone, because bone has a lot of blood supply, whereas cartilage does not. Now that is not to say that they don't have a way to get nutrients, because they have to. If you have cells that make cartilage, they have to have some way of getting oxygen and nutrients. So there is a girdle around the cartilages called the perichondrium. Anytime you see peri, that means around. So around the chondrium, around the cartilage. And this is where your blood vessels are so that you can get nutrients to the cartilage. So when you think about cartilage, hopefully you remember back from our tissue that it's the chondrocytes that make the cartilage. So they are in those little lacuna, little cell houses, and they make the matrix that becomes the cartilage. So you have a little cell, and so it just sends out the matrix, and it expands and expands until finally the cell is trapped inside this matrix of cartilage. One of the important things about cartilage is that we can use cartilage as a template for bone. So if you think about the fetal skeleton, when you first look at a fetal skeleton early in development, it looks like a cartilaginous skeleton. And then the bone is going to come in and replace that cartilage. We do the same thing as we grow taller. If we repair a bone, you always have to put down cartilage first, and then the cartilage will then be converted into bone. So this is just a part of normal bone growth in old age. So not only are cartilages a part of our skeleton every day, but we also use them in the growth and repair process. So again, the three types of cartilage, you should have learned about this in your tissue unit. Again, types of connective tissue. You have your hyaline, your elastic, and your fibrocartilage. Okay, your hyaline cartilage, they're the most abundant. So you have the most of these. All right, they're your support cartilages. They're flexible and they're resilient. We have a lot of these, and so I'm going to show you a picture of where you can find hyaline cartilage. Your elastic cartilages are very similar to hyaline cartilages, but they're really elastic. It means they're really springy. Okay. So I'll show you some examples of where you can find elastic cartilage. And then your fibrocartilages, they have collagen. And if you remember back from earlier discussions, anytime you see the word collagen, think strong. So these are very strong cartilages. All right, so here's a picture of the skeleton and the cartilages associated with them. And so we've got three colors. The blue is going to be, so the blue is going to be your hyaline cartilages, okay? The green is your elastic cartilages, and your red is the fibrocartilages. So let's go with our blue first. Again, remember, blue is your hyaline, most abundant. It's going to be the stuff that you find on the end of bones, okay? We call those articular cartilages. It's what makes the flappy part of your nose, the bendy part of your nose. It's going to be at the ends of all of your long bones. So anywhere you see blue in between your little bones of your wrist, your short bones, anywhere you see this blue between bones where there's a joint, you're going to see hyaline cartilage. Okay. Now the other cartilage, the green one, let's see if I can change my color. Maybe I can change my color. Yeah. The green one's only found in two places, so that makes it really easy to remember. So elastic cartilage is found in the outside of the ear. So if you look at someone's ear and it's real bendy and elastic, that's going to be elastic cartilage. It's also found in the epiglottis. So if you look inside the respiratory system, at the top of the trachea near your larynx, there's a little flap, and that flap will close over the trachea when you're swallowing food. So it blocks food from going down your trachea. It goes to your esophagus instead. So again, it's a bendy piece of material. So that's the only places you find your elastic cartilages. And let's see if I can change it one more time. Okay, and your red, these are your fibrocartilages. So these need to be really strong. They're also really good at shock absorbing. And so you find those, it's hard to tell, but that's what you see between all of these vertebrae. So the little bones in your backbone, between each vertebra, your discs, you've probably heard of someone have a slip disc, those are fibrocartilages. So your spine actually acts as a big spring, a big shock absorber. So that fibrocartilage allows you to absorb shock as you walk or run or jump up and down. You also have it between the bones of your leg at your knee joint. It's called the meniscus, which is between your femur and your tibia. Again, think about pounding. When you run, you need something strong to withhold or withstand that shock. And then your pubic symphysis. So you have a large piece of fibrocartilage that holds your big hip bones together. So if you think about a person, all the weight is going to be up in your abdomen and thorax, and so you're pushing down on that hip bone. You need something that's strong to hold those hip bones together, and you have that fibrocartilage. Now, in women, that fibrocartilage is actually can be acted upon by the hormones late in pregnancy, and it will actually thin out just a little bit, soften a little bit, and allow the hip bones to spread just a little bit to open up the birth canal. But again, the fibrocartilages are going to be strong, found at your knee, at your pubic symphysis, and your between your intervertebral disc, between your discs. So the easy way to remember it is if you can remember where elastic is, and if you remember where fibrocartilage is, hyalin's everywhere else. So if you have a question on the test that says the following places contain whatever cartilage, the only place that has elastic is the epiglottis and the ear. The fibrocartilage is just between at the knee, at the where the two hip bones come together, the pubic symphysis, and in between the discs. Everything else is going to be hyaline cartilage. Okay? And that's it, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.